Welcome to this week's Foundation Friday. I am joined by Eric Gross, COO, Rob Stackhouse, CFO, and Ken Locke, President of Dex Capital. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Our pleasure.
Yeah, thank you, Jesse.
No, I really appreciate you guys giving me a moment of your time this afternoon to talk about the charities and foundations that Dex Capital supports in their local communities. So I'm going to start off with Eric, if you don't mind. Eric, do you mind just kind of talking about Candlelighters?
I'd be happy to. Well, actually, Jesse, let me back up just a little bit. I'll steal some of maybe Ken's thunder for once. That you know, when we started the company, you know, we all came to the business with a lot of experience, but we didn't just want to create an equipment finance group. We really wanted to create something that was a little bit more meaningful and you know, supporting our community. You know, we're headquartered here in Oregon. Certainly isn't one of the hot spots for equipment leasing industry, but you know, we wanted to really make a mark here in the area. And you know, when we recruit, you know, charitable giving and being active in the community is a big part of what we do. You know, we focus on supporting the health and wellness space. So, you know, the well-being of people, you know, is really core to our mission. And, you know, being able to also, you know, give to these organizations is important to us. So, you know, myself, you know, I've been involved with Candlelighters of Oregon for the last almost 10 years. This is an organization that supports families who have children who are going through cancer. And, you know, there's a lot of great organizations out there to support the children going through, you know, this terrible disease, but, you know, not a lot of support to the families. You know, if the siblings of the children, you know, they're affected when the family gets packed up and has to drive across the state for treatment. You know, the parents, this is always, you know, this is new territory, and they need support of, you know, how this whole, you know, thing works. And especially in, you know, some of these hard economic times, that, you know, just finding, you know, money to fill the gas tank to get to the hospital to give treatment is a reality for some of these families. And so, you know, one of the things that is important to me is to make sure that, you know, the charity is very efficient in how it donates and how it uses its money. And Candlelighters, I think, is running at about an 84% clip, which I think is pretty remarkable.
Yeah,
you know, and the benefit is we all, you know, anybody who's ever given and become involved in the organizations, the benefit really is the payback. You know, you meet wonderful people, you meet kind people, you know, you walk away feeling that you've tried to make an impact, and hopefully you have. So I'm very pleased with that, and I think that's kind of my shtick.
That's perfect. Eric, how'd you get involved with Candlelighters?
Well, it may not look like it, but I'm an avid cyclist, and their Candlelighters' largest fundraiser is an event called Ride for a Child.
Okay.
And it occurs once a year during a very large week-long ride called Cycle Oregon. It's a very challenging ride, and we utilize that as a fundraiser. And I just happened to be on a Cycle Oregon ride, and I saw this group, and I said, "Geez, I wonder what you know what they do." And I looked it up, and a couple of years later, I was organizing the ride. You know, we raise a couple $100,000 a year, and you know, it's so not only is it a good cause, but hopefully it I mean, who doesn't want to see me in spandex, right? So besides Ken.
I usually you know, think it's a donation by mile, so I bet on Eric all the time, but I end up, you know, spending more money than I thought I would. So but yeah, you know, it is a great cause. I mean, it's something that in addition to the ride, is, you know, they do all sorts of events for all the people that are affected. And, we get an opportunity as an organization at DEX, and obviously the group here, but also a lot of people in the office get a chance to participate in Christmas events, Halloween events, and, gives us an opportunity to, sort of see the people that it's impacting. And that's actually important to us. A lot of the stuff we do, whether it's the Ronald McDonald House and preparing meals, preparing bingo nights, whether it's candlelighters, or whether it's Lupus Foundation walks, it's all stuff where we get to do things together. And I think you'll find in our organization here, I think we tend to attract people where that feel like, doing stuff for the community, giving back a little is important to them. I think a lot of the folks that joined the organization already had that in them, but I think we get an opportunity to foster that. And even as a new company, I think we sort of started off building a company with the DNA of giving back. And I thought it was a good opportunity for us to showcase a little bit of that here and give these guys a chance to showcase some of the causes that they're working on as well. There's still a bunch of other things that we work on as an organization, as a team. But we definitely, make sure we put aside a little money for these type of events. Certainly make sure that we have ample time as an organization to spend on giving back. And frankly, I think for us, we've been successful since the beginning of our business, and so I think it's a nice thing for us to give just a little bit back.
No, and kudos to you, Ken, and team for fostering that environment to the people that you want to work with. So, I mean, you set the tone right from the beginning. This is the organization we're going to be. This is what we believe in, and you guys are following through with it. And, Rob, I know we spoke a few months back in regards to the Dougy Center, which you're going to get into. And, I can kind of see now where some of all that stuff kind of just makes sense in regards to the DEX Capital and your mission to the community.
Yeah, I joined DEX Capital later than Eric and Ken, obviously, but it was important for me as far as joining this organization that it be an organization that gives back to the community. And I think all of us, not just the three of us on this call, but across the organization, that's part of our DNA.
So I guess while we're on that, do you mind just kind of giving a little background on the Dougy Center and
yeah,
the mission and how you got involved?
Yeah, so the Dougy Center is an organization that is based on the concept of supporting children that are grieving. So whether it's a lost parent or grandparent or someone that's close to the child, giving counseling support to both the child or children in the home and also to siblings and parents all the way across the family for as long as people need it. So some people will be 3 to 6 months worth of support, and some people can be there for much longer, as often as they want to go. I got involved with Dougy Center. All of the charitable organizations I've supported over the years have been somehow tied to the wellness of children. I had a few board members from a previous board that had joined the Dougy Center board and said, knowing you and knowing your background, I think this is a great connection for you. My niece and nephew lived at home with my parents, so their grandparents, when both my parents passed when they were teenagers. And so seeing the impact of their loss of a secondary caregiver, my parents, to them, and how that impacted them at the time really kind of shaped how I thought about that. And so when an opportunity to join Dougy Center came along, it was absolutely the right place for me at the right time. So I've been involved with them for 6 going on 7 years now. It's a great organization that impacts, locally about 2,500 kids a year. But since their foundation, they've impacted and supported over 55,000 children in the Portland metropolitan area, but also gets involved in other devastating events across the country. So whether that was Sandy Hook or the Las Vegas shooting, et cetera, they have sent resources and people to support the community at the time of their loss as well.
Got it. Thank you for that background.
Absolutely.
There, Rob. So when people make a donation to the Dougy Center, where do those funds go?
100%. Dougie Center is 100% supported by charitable giving. They get no government assistance or anything else. So it goes back to the children or for fundraising additional funds for the organization.
Okay. Thank you for that. Yeah. And then Ken, I know you mentioned the Ronald McDonald House, Lupus Foundation. You guys do several things for both those organizations. So not sure if you want to go a little further in depth in regards to what Dex is doing with those.
Yeah, happy to do it. So there's a couple, right? So Lupus Foundation America. So I've been involved in various nonprofits related to lupus, I don't know, for a couple of decades now. My wife's got lupus. She sort of had it since she was really early in her life, and sort of managed through that. And seeing the number of people, it's just surprising the number of people that are affected by lupus throughout our world, right? I mean, we're talking tens of millions of people. It's probably one of the biggest diseases out there, and frankly, it's one of these diseases that it's hard to tell someone might have it, but when they have it, it affects greatly. It's an autoimmune deficiency type of disease. And what's also interesting about it is that there's been very little research and investment in terms of finding cures and treatments for lupus. And so in the several decades that I've been close to the disease, there really hasn't been much substantial movement in that. And really the Lupus Foundation America raises money for lupus research. And it trying to find ways for it to defeat lupus, for it to treat lupus, make the lives of people that are affected better. And really over the last couple of years, there's been a few more treatments that have been set up for it. But it's something that is close to my heart, something that's meaningful to me. Actually, several people in the office also have a tie to lupus. And so, every year we get together and we do the lupus walk. It's actually available throughout the whole country. That you're able to go out and at a certain date do a lengthy walk. Typically in one of the bigger cities, there's usually an organized walk. There's also virtual walks, and it raises money for the foundation, raises money for a great cause that I think is making progress, because I think in the last couple of years, we've seen a couple of new treatments for the first time in a long time being rolled out. So I'm excited about that. The other thing is Ronald McDonald House. Ronald McDonald Houses, I think a lot of people, I see them throughout the country. Probably in your city, you've got at least a handful of Ronald McDonald Houses. And it's basically a house that give housing to families that are going through typically some type of health crisis, right? They're going through cancer treatments or some other treatment that, where they need a place to stay for a long period of time. And as you might imagine, most folks are in positions where it's hard for them to go find a place, right? And pay for a place. And the Ronald McDonald House was created as a way to give these, families a place to stay in an environment that is both comforting and nurturing, and giving them the support that they need during a time that is, frankly, really trying for the family. And so, each year we do a couple of events for them, typically to prepare a meal. We hosted bingo nights to really, give back to the families, give them a little bit of excitement, entertainment, hopefully good food along the way. And I think we use it as an opportunity for, the folks, our team to get together and just give back. And so those are the type of things we like to do. There's certainly a handful of other things we try to make time for, make resources available for. But I think we all feel good about it doing it, and then coming out of it, we feel even better seeing the sort of the faces of the people that we're impacting positively.
Absolutely, and thank you guys for that overview of all those foundations. As our peers in equipment finance watch this interview or read the press release on this here, what can our equipment finance community do to help support these foundations or charities?
Eric, I'll give it to you to start off.
Well, first of all, I think that, our industry has done a really nice job of always trying to give back to their communities, you know, and you know it's the ELFA and all of the other associations have always put giving at the forefront. I think that we recognize that we've been fortunate to be in an industry that, you know, provides a good living for us and our families, and recognize that not everybody is always in a real good spot. And, you know, so there's always a lot of organizations that are, you know, really super worthy to give to. And I think the important thing is that, you know, that we recognize that the world is a better place when we try to, you know, give something of ourselves, whether it be our time, our energy, or just donations. They all make a meaningful impact.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I also, relative to Dougy Center, would add that they're also a great resource in the event that there is a loss within our community. Their website is vast as far as being able to help support children. If you're in a situation where someone you know has lost a child, or somewhere in the family a loss has occurred, take a look at their website at dougy.org. There's a lot of great resources out there to help navigate those waters. Even if they're not local to you, they're a great resource.
And I would say on Lupus Foundation, certainly encourage everyone to take part in the walk, right? I mean, it's getting outside, seeing a lot of folks, and sort of a fun event, as well as really take the time to learn a little bit about lupus. Probably is impacting someone and maybe you don't even know it. And so learning about that, I think, certainly helps the cause. And obviously they take donations as well on their website. Ronald McDonald House, they've got great events. Like we've done the food preparation and the bingo nights. We've also gathered toys and different canned goods to give to the children as well. And it's sort of cool that every time they come in, they actually have a supply closet that they call the treasure chest. And every time the kids come in, they get to go into the treasure chest and grab a toy. Really knowing that like one of your toys that you're donating is something that's going to bring that type of happiness to a child is pretty cool. So they take donations directly, but I would encourage folks to look into doing something with them, because I think it's a great cause, and it's also an event that I think both yourselves as well as your families as well as your companies can take part in.
Great team building events too, by giving back at some of those places as well. And
absolutely.
Yeah. Well, thank you all for your time, and I applaud the work that Dex is doing, with all the foundations and charities that you guys support. For the people watching this, feel free to reach out to Eric, Rob, and Ken directly if you have specific questions or how you'd like to get involved, and they can definitely point in those directions.
Well, and thank you, Jesse, for doing these sessions and kind of raising awareness. That's meaningful.
Well, when you can sit there, and I know, Ken, we had you do a little showcase last year at our California event, and you get to learn more and how it impacts friends and family in this industry. We'll have to make sure we have a Dex one for our California one this year, where we're talking about multiple things. But, Eric, like you said earlier, when you can see the impact of what you're doing and who it, helps, and you can make that. I've been on the sales side my entire career in equipment finance. Impacting somebody's life in a positive way is more fulfilling than making that next sale. So,
thank you, Jesse.
Thank you, Jesse.
No problem, guys. Appreciate your time. Thank you.